How's it going, guys? Welcome back to MC Production. I'm Matt, and I'm going to be doing another life story video today. So sit back, relax, enjoy some popcorn, chips, chocolate, anything you have in your house, whatever, and enjoy the video. So yes, based on the title, yes, I only have driven pickup trucks throughout the 3 years that I've been driving. I've been starting driving since I was 16. I'm now 19, so pretty much 3 years I've been driving. Pretty cool experience if you ask me, but I've only driven pickup trucks throughout those 3 years. Like, I don't count driving like a Honda Civic or a Mercedes Benz for like a couple minutes for like one time. I don't count that. Like, I only count it if it's like consistently driven for a couple of weeks. And that's what I've been doing with pickup trucks lately. So my first truck that I've ever driven was the Nissan Frontier. My parents allowed me to drive it since I passed my permit test when I was 16. And I've driven it for about a year. I was driving it for about a year. It was not the best truck in the world. Well, obviously. It had some ups and downs, mainly downs. Some downs were that the windshield wipers only had 3 settings, which was only slow, medium, and high speed. So, like, if you're like, okay, it's not raining that hard, and you're going with like slow or medium, it's not going to be really comfortable driving when the windshield wipers keep going in and out of your face when you're driving when it's not even raining that hard. So that was a down. The truck didn't have automatic lights either. Like, even like a 2007 car of any brand or model has automatic lights, which was a big down. The Nissan Frontier was a 2016 model, which I was really surprised they didn't have that. So I'm like, well, bummer for Nissan, whatever. And I've driven that for about a year, like I said, like 3 times already. And it was obviously an okay truck. I mean, not all trucks are perfect. This one definitely wasn't perfect. But I was thankful enough that my dad allowed me to drive it, practice on it. It was easy to practice with because it was not that big. It was the size of it was a little bit bigger than a normal car, but it was still fine and okay with me. And the other downside was that it was like extremely small in the cab area. Like, I couldn't even put my feet up. I couldn't do anything. The steering wheel was really tiny, which made it a little uncomfortable. Like, I like big steering wheels, like not obviously like the like bus size steering wheels, but like at least a normal size steering wheel, not like the Frontier has, because I was literally like almost touching my hands together when I was steering the wheel, and I was like, okay, this is not comfortable. And then a little while later, I was able to drive my grandpa's pickup truck, which was a Chevy Avalanche. He unfortunately and sadly passed away a couple of years ago, and my grandma let me drive his truck and take care of it because she was not going to drive it because she's not really comfortable driving trucks, which I honestly don't blame her. I mean, I'm not going to give her any trouble for it. So I'm like, okay, grandma, or I call her nanny, but I'll take it off your hands. I'll take care of it for you. I'll do everything I can to make sure it's still new and running and taken care of. And I did. I took care of it for about a year and a half, and I love driving it a lot more than my Frontier. And I'm going to tell you why. Because, well, for one, it's 5 years older than the Frontier, because the Frontier was made in 2016, the Avalanche was made in 2011. So the positives was that it actually had a normal size steering wheel, which made it a lot easier for me to turn, and it had the shifter or whatever it's called on this, like behind the steering wheel instead of right next to you on the side. So that was a lot more comfortable for me because I don't like shifters on the side, on the right side of me. And it had a lot more space. Like, my friends were like, oh my god, I could actually rest my feet. I could actually pull my kneecaps up and lay down comfortably. And I was like, thanks. I'm glad you like it. And I liked it a lot better too. It had more than 3 settings for the windshield wipers, which I was able to put at a perfect speed whenever it was raining, which was a lot because in New York it rains a lot. Really unfortunate, but whatever. The only downside is that it did not have a backup camera. And I mean, some cars in 2011 had a backup camera, some didn't. The Avalanche unfortunately did not. And it didn't really faze me that much because, like, I didn't really need it. I was already a good parker either way. So I'm like, you know what, whatever, I don't need it. And it was one of the smoothest trucks I've ever driven. Usually pickup trucks are not that smooth. They're usually a little rusty and rocky and whatever you want to call it. Like, you're driving a Mercedes Benz, you're driving a Tesla. it's probably the smoothest ride you'd ever driven in. But the Avalanche, surprisingly, was a lot smoother than I expected. One of the smoothest I've ever driven in. Like, I drive with my parents in that car. They're like, oh my God, this is smoother. My grandma even admitted that in her Cadillac, it was not as smooth as the Avalanche. She's like, oh my God, this Avalanche is smoother than my Cadillac. And that says a lot. And I'm like, yeah, I know, right? And then I took care of that Avalanche for a while, at least a year and a half. And then starting in September of this year, so literally like a little more than a month, I was able to finally take care of the Avalanche. And yeah, I do have it here in college. It's obviously the biggest truck that I've ever driven in my entire life. And it's big, it's powerful, it's a diesel, it's awesome. It's blue with platinum. And I am really happy that my dad allowed me to take it to school with me because it's awesome. It's really great on fuel efficiency because whenever it says how many more miles it has left in the tank, it's usually wrong. It usually doubles the amount of miles I've driven. So I'll give you an example. So from college to my house is 200 miles away. And then it said on the what do you call them? On the screen. I'll just call it the screen because I'm not a really big car guy. I'm not knowledgeable about cars and all its parts and whatever. So I'm just going to say the screen. So on the screen, it said the car had 399 miles in its tank. And I'm going to say, okay, it's probably going to be like 200, maybe 180 miles left on the tank when I get back to school, whatever. And it said that it had 250 miles left in the tank when I got to school. And I'm not sure if that's like a glitch or if it's actually true because I was on the highway for a pretty long time, I-95, LIE, whatever. And before I get right into the other details of the truck, this is not my gameplay. I mean, yeah, you see the ad right now with Galaxy, blah, blah, blah. And it's not my gameplay, it's somebody else's. I'm obviously going to put the YouTube channel that owns this gameplay in the description so that I don't get copyright or whatever. But anyways, back to the story. I'm just gonna say that the Titan is probably one of the more powerful and one of the best looking trucks in America. I mean, you can take my word for it. I've driven it before a lot of times. It's awesome. It's a lot of space. It's powerful, loud, because it's a diesel, obviously. And I'm glad my dad was able to let me drive it to college. Because letting your son drive a big pickup like that to school is not easy. I mean, I'm glad he let me able to drive it. And yeah, that's my story. I've only driven pickup trucks in my entire life. I mean, probably when I get out of college, that's probably going to end because I'm probably going to drive a smaller car to drive to work or wherever the hell I have to go. And yeah, that's my whole story. I've only driven pickup trucks in my entire life for a consistent amount of time. And if you guys enjoyed this story, don't forget to drop a like, comment, and subscribe, and turn on the post notification bell for more videos. If there's a really awesome car that you've driven in your life, please put it in the comments down below. I want to know about it. I really like cars. So, yeah, don't forget to drop a comment, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace out.
Coming down like a copter, Michael Murray on looking like a shotter. Louis Carry on feeling like a ganja. Keep a very long shotty for imposters.